You're listening to My Comic Life on the My Comic Life Podcast Network. Welcome back to My Comic Life, folks. We are so thrilled you're here for another exciting, action-packed episode. If you like comic books, movies, video games, TV, pop culture, this is your one-stop podcast for all that and so much more. Joining me each week in the My Comic Life studio, well, folks, the only man I know who can make the Kessel run in 8 parsecs, Alex. Say hello to the folks there, Alex.
8 parsecs. It would have been 7 too, but I had to stop and tie my shoe. You know how it is, man. The wife.
Yeah,
the
man.
Wife calls,
You get off that starting line.
Wife calls. You got to get milk. You got to get this and that. But I do what I can. I make sure I can have it done every single week for you guys here. We love you guys. We missed you. A very exciting week for you guys this week. So go ahead, Sam. Take us into it.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to start with some James Gunn Suicide Squad news. This week, eager fans got their first trailer for the upcoming pseudo soft boot sequel of Suicide Squad. Helmed. I know, I got through that one. You tried to trip me up. Pseudo soft boot sequel of Suicide Squad, helmed by the ever awesome James Gunn and filled to the brim with Hollywood talent. The Suicide Squad looks to make its statement in its inaugural trailer, sporting a red band with plenty of laughs, a hearty scoop of profanity, a dash of brutality. James Gunn looks to give fans the perfect mixture of violence and fun. Alex, what are your initial thoughts? Are you sold on this, or are you still on the edge on this? What do you think?
Oh, I think I'm completely sold on it. I was sold on it the minute that they brought James Gunn on, because I feel like he's pretty good at these ensemble productions. But now this one was very ambitious, especially with them, giving him full creative control with the R rating and bringing in whatever characters he felt like he needed to, and the profanity, the violence, it all just looks so good in the trailer. The red band, it was the perfect introduction for me, because I don't know a whole lot about the Suicide Squad, but it seems like this is that like you said, the pseudo soft boot sequels, slippery selling seashells by the seashore. But it just looks like the perfect, soft reboot to reintroduce us to this. They have a lot of those old characters. I think, of course, Harley Quinn, because you can't have a DC production without Margot Robbie in it anymore. You've got Joel Kinnaman, you got Viola Davis, of course, and they brought in a lot of really new people, and I don't know, I just really liked it. My first initial thoughts was like, Jesus Christ, John Cena's arms are huge, but after that first initial shock, it just got better and better watching the trailer. But I don't know, what do you think, Sam? Does this catch your eye? Is this on your radar?
Oh my gosh, yes, I am sold on this, man. I've always been like a big James Gunn fan. Loved a lot of that man's work. Yeah, love this. I think this is what the Suicide Squad should be. I mean, like, it should be more lighthearted, less dark. It should be more funny, more of just what James Gunn is bringing to this. It just cracked me up. Loved the language. It's the right tone of violence. Like, it's not like real violence. It's like over the top, almost like borderlining on Evil Dead level of violence, and that's what you need in like a Suicide Squad movie like this. So yeah, no, and you got a plethora of characters, like so many that I couldn't even like keep track of like who I was seeing on screen and who I wasn't. I think I gotta believe like some of these characters have got to die off in like quick ways. I mean, just the cast is huge.
Yeah.
Huge in this film, I mean, you got Nathan Fillion already in there, Margot Robbie, like you said, Idris Elba, Sylvester Stallone, Michael Rooker, Viola Davis, Jai Courtney, Pete Davidson, John Cena. Like I said, I got to think that, like something happens to like a chunk of like the Suicide Squad in this, and, like another chunk of like a newer Suicide Squad possibly has to, come up and do some stuff. But no, just love the whole tone that he's setting here. Like I said, it's lighthearted, it's fun, but there's like enough edge to it to like, draw you in, and there's like enough action and to like, keep you entertained. So no, I think this is great. sold on this.
I do think
But as
that
you
it's
said,
pretty
man,
crazy that because when we first, I mean, this is way back 2016. I think this was way back when it was you, me, and Alan, friend of the show, Alan. Come on to the show, Alan. Um, we had discussed the Suicide Squad, and we were talking about how it seemed like the very first trailer that we saw of it, it seemed like it was trying to rip off that Guardians of the Galaxy kind of vibe, and like so they were like, okay, maybe that didn't quite work. So let's just get the missing piece. Let's just go ahead and hire James Gunn, and we'll just go all out and really have a lot of fun with it. And it seems to work. At least that's the way it looks in the trailer.
oh yeah, totally. I mean, I totally agree, man. Everyone like when Ayer released like his first trailer, and it had the Queen music bumping underneath it, and everyone was cracking one-liners. Everyone is like like this is a knockoff James Gunn. Like what are you guys doing? This is so obvious. Again, like DC's trailing Marvel here and just trying to ride their coattails and see what they're doing. And I mean, like you put it perfectly. They said, forget this. Forget being knockoff James Gunn. Let's just go get James Gunn and get him, to
Let's just drive the dump truck full of money up to his house.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Back it up to his lawn, James. You just tell us when to stop the truck, okay?
basically.
But were there any surprises for you in this trailer? Anything that caught you off guard, or anything you weren't expecting?
I guess for me it would probably be the King Shark. I didn't expect King Shark to be in this. I mean, I don't really know a whole lot about Suicide Squad. Hadn't really kept up with this. Um, Even the whole drop in the trailer was kind of a surprise for me. So it was really cool to see, like, just how violent he got they allowed him to be just in the trailer. So it makes me really excited to see how violent he's going to be in the actual movie. And I think it's really funny that they picked up. I think you said it was Sylvester Stallone to play King
Yeah,
Shark. So it should and Sylvester Stallone is no stranger to violence. So it should be really really fun to see him kind of get to play around with the character. But I mean, what
yeah.
about you?
No,
What about you, Sam? You got anything you didn't see coming?
well, first of all, I agree. King Shark caught me off guard. He was funny. He stole parts of the trailer for me. Yeah, I was once again surprised with like the kind of fun level of violence they're letting him get away with it. Because at one point in the trailer, he rips a man in half, and they don't cut away from it.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
they kind of pull back from it a little bit, but I mean, like you see him getting ripped down the middle. Honestly, the biggest surprise to me was the reveal of Starro as possibly being like the big bad villain in this. Starro has a deep history in DC Comics. He was the first villain that the very first, like either Justice Society or Justice League fans in comments, feel free to correct me down there, but I do believe it was the Justice League fought, and
right.
actually having Starro as your main villain kind of works for me because if I'm reading this plot right, Suicide Squad goes to like rescue somebody on an island. Now, if Starro's there, Starro already has like abilities to like manipulate people's minds, but he also can launch like little minions off of him that'll latch onto your face and will mind control you as well. So I mean, you put it in an island setting.
That's
Suicide Squad
terrifying.
goes to rescue somebody. Yeah, I know. Already, this guy can mind control you, and then he has like little creatures that like latch onto him that he shoots off. But so I mean, this totally sets up an epic Suicide Squad film to have the Suicide Squad fighting Starro on an island full of mind-controlled, villains, heroes, whatever you want to call it. That works. But yeah, my biggest surprise was like seeing Starro, and like I had to go back and like be like, no, like watch it twice. I was like, is that really? But only I think only James Gunn could get away with saying, hey, I'm gonna have Starro be like my big bad guy of my Suicide Squad film, and Warner Bros. Is like, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
just do your thing, James Gunn.
Oh,
So yeah, yes.
it was
So yeah,
definitely
agree with you,
a
King
great
Shark.
reveal to see. I would have liked for them to have kind of kept that under wraps because I felt like that would have been like a really big reveal if we had watched it in the theaters. But I do understand that we're not going to be watching it in the theaters for one, and
Yeah,
so you got to kind of get eyes where you can, especially in this hyper competitive kind of home streaming service industry that they have to compete with. So So
Uh,
I take it with a grain of salt. I like seeing Starro. I love the colors. I love and I think overall it's going to be a really great movie and really fun to watch.
Yeah, and with that being said, and I know we said King Shark surprised us, but did you have any favorite parts of this trailer? Or anything that really stood out to you above the rest?
I for some reason I just thought it was really funny that part where they were I guess it looked like they had captured the thinker and they were giving him the rundown and they were like, if you try to run, you die. If you if you give us the wrong information, you die. And then here comes Harley and she's like, if you have a personalized license plate, you die. And they're trying to stop her and she tells him, she goes, if you cough without covering your mouth, you die. And Rick Flag is like no, that's not true, but don't take this as an open invitation to cough with your mouth open. Like I thought that was really funny just for some weird reason. So I guess I would say that was my favorite part, other than I'm really eager to see John Cena kind of, because I haven't really seen him in a role where he like gets to be profane and kind of just gets to make an ass out of himself. Because lately he's just been in these kid movies, um, and I'm not knocking the guy. Of course, go get that money. But I was waiting for him to make that jump into more like adult comedy oriented pictures, and that's probably, so I'd say John Cena, and then Joel Kinnaman was probably my favorite part of this movie. What about you, Sam? You got anything that's kind of really stuck out for you?
The two that stole the trailer for me were Idris Elba and John Cena. Idris Elba, when they're in like the alleyway and Harley Quinn pops up and she's like, "Oh, I can go run back in the building and tie myself back up if that's really what y'all need." And he's like, "That's condescending." So I mean, like his quippy one-liners are like they're in like the briefing room and like one guy's like, "Yeah, I really hope we die," and he's like, "Oh, we're fucked," you know. So yeah, so that was funny. And then sorry, this one's a little rated R for our podcast, but John Cena talking about how he would eat a beach full of dicks for liberty. That that part, yeah, that part made me almost spit my water out when I was watching that, and I took a sip at the wrong time, and I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, those were probably my favorite parts for Idris Elba and John Cena. They really kind of stole the trailer for me.
I just really hope that this
Uh,
isn't like um, one of those pictures. And I know we got to give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt when it comes to this. And I just hope that they didn't put all the funny parts and all the best parts in the trailer, because that would be kind of disappointing.
exactly. I mean, I will not be watching any more follow up trailers to this. Like I've seen enough. Like I'm good. But yeah, no. I hope this wasn't like a sizzle reel of like all the best parts, and then nothing else like surprises us or like makes us laugh.
Absolutely. But if any other information comes out, make sure that you tune in here every week, and we'll be sure to
Yeah,
let you guys know.
yeah. So the Suicide Squad makes its debut in theaters August 6th, and we've already listed some of these, but the soft reboot brings back fan favorites Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, Viola Davis, while adding many others such as Idris Elba as Bloodsport, Michael Rooker as Savant, and John Cena as Peacemaker. Now, David Ayer, who directed the original 2016 version, was originally set to direct the sequel, but parted ways with the production company amid creative differences and poor box office reception of his 2016 release. With all the buzz around the release of the Snyder Cut and the hype it has been getting, do you think there is a chance we would ever, get an Ayer cut of Suicide Squad? Do you even want an Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, Alex?
No, I don't think. I honestly don't think that there's too much more to add to that movie that would kind of be beneficial. Um, and I don't think that he has that much footage on the cutting floor. I mean, if can you imagine what it would be like to watch a 4-hour Suicide Squad movie? Like, oh my god, dude, no, thank you. Yeah,
Jeez.
so that's just for me. If it did come out, would I watch it? Of course, because the things that we do for the My Comic Life family out there. But no, I'm not calling for it. I hope other people don't. I kind of honestly like the 2016 Suicide Squad the way it is. I mean, I don't really have a problem with it. I have revisited it, and it holds up in its own ways. I mean, yeah, the movie's got a whole lot of problems, but it's still like a solid kind of popcorn flick for me. But what about you, Sam? Have you already put the hashtag out there?
No, no. But what's crazy is that like I've seen on like a few like Reddit pages and on a few just fanboy sites. I've already seen the hashtag release the Ayer cut, but I don't think it's quite getting the groundswell that released the Snyder cut was getting. I don't think people are. I don't think Warner Brothers is gonna chalk up 30, 40 million to let Ayer go back and reshoot and recut Suicide Squad.
Right.
No, like you, Suicide Squad was campy, fun. Didn't love. There were parts of it that were weak to me and parts of it that were strong to me. I thought all the action scenes were directed really well and that those were great. I thought some like the in between scenes could have been a little stronger, but overall I liked the cast, and I thought it was a fun movie. But no, I mean, and nothing against Air there. I just think he had a shot and let James Gunn, you know, go do his thing.
For sure, man.
But hey, yeah, speaking of, people have been crying out and crying out, release the Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut. Well, finally, the Snyder Cut has been released. Last week, HBO Max finally released Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, we here at My Comic Life like to give our listeners a chance to get caught up, so after waiting a week, we can finally share our thoughts on Zack Snyder's 4-hour opus. And first question, right off the bat that I gotta ask you, Alex, did you watch the movie in all, in like one sitting, or did you divide it up? How did you watch it? Go.
Oh, no. There was no possible way for me to watch a 4-hour movie, man. I got kids, dude. I would I would have had to have tied them up somewhere in order to fully enjoy a 4-hour movie. But I did catch, I caught an hour here, an hour there. I won't, I won't go into detail on how I watched it because Sam does not like it. However,
road safety, man. Road safety.
Anyways,
you can't.
Anyways, let's move on. I watched it in bits and pieces. I watched the first hour and the one day, the second hour the next day, and then I kind of finished it off the final 2 hours the following day. So that's how I watched it. But I mean, Sam, I know. Did you watch it all in one sitting? Did you have a full on dad for noon right there?
Yeah, actually, I did watch it in one sitting. I kind of broke it up a little bit, but so like I started at like 7:30 on like Saturday and finished at like 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning. So like I watched like the first hour and a half, 2 hours, took a pause, went out, like grabbed dinner from some local place, picked it up, came back, talked to my roommate who had watched it the day before, and ended up getting into like a 30 to 45 minute debate with her about just my thoughts on the film. And then I was like, oh wait, crap, I've only finished like an hour 45, like almost 2 hours, but I still got to go back for 2 more hours. So I went back, tried to watch some more, got distracted by like a phone call, had to take a phone call for like 45 minutes to an hour, then came back. So I watched it in spurts.
Right.
But yeah, no, I watched it in like all basically like one sitting, like like I didn't like go to sleep and then like wake up the next day and watch some more. No, I stayed up and watched it all. It just took me longer than I thought it would. What was the biggest change that you immediately noticed in the Snyder Cut, Alex?
And I know we had seen all the character art leading up to it, but I never really got to hear his voice. But Steppenwolf, man, his voice was kind of the biggest jarring change to me. He sounded like the 2017, is it? 2017 Steppenwolf? If he was like a strip club DJ. Like he said, like it was just really weird. He was just like, "Oh, we're gonna go get the mother box," and it was
Come on down to the Hall of Justice.
We're gonna go get that mother box. Make sure to tip your waitress. And it was
tip your waitresses, and it's Mother Box Mondays here.
It was just different, and I mean, it was pretty good, but that was something that I had immediately noticed was that Steppenwolf. And don't get me wrong, man. I mean, he was badass in this Snyder Cut. Like he was in the original. I don't really want to call it the Whedon cut because I don't really subscribe to that whole weird war that's going on right now. But the one in the 2017 release, he was way more like PG kind of, his design and the way he talked and everything like that. And even my dad was like, oh, he was just, complaining about his mother the whole time. And but this one right here was actually like, he was sitting here like stabbing horses and ripping Amazons in half, and just like he was definitely made a statement, and he was like a Justice League like caliber villain, whereas the 2017 was like, of course Superman was going to wipe the floor with him, So that was the biggest change that I had noticed immediately. So what about you, Sam? I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this one.
For me, just it went at such a slower and more expanded pace. I felt like Whedon's version, like somebody like now after watching Snyder's version and watching Whedon's version, I feel like Whedon was like a kid, like an ADHD kid that had been given speed, man, and so he was like, oh my gosh, okay, we've done 5 minutes of Batman. Okay, now we're gonna run over here and do 10 minutes to Superman. No. Too long with Superman. Okay, back to Aquaman. Aquaman, yes, no, shit, Flash, go, go. And like you were just like racing to like keep up with like where Whedon was like taking this story. And now I feel like with like Zack Snyder, it was like, take a big breath in, breathe, and we are slowly gonna guide you through this, let you walk around in this world, really get to know and explore these characters' lives, and like really build like a deep rapport, and like sometimes longer than I thought it needed to be at times. But yeah,
it was really slowly. Did you ever see that? I think somebody had done the math. A 4-hour movie.
Yeah, well,
4 hours, 60 minutes, that's 240 minutes. There was like 24 minutes and some change of slow motion in one way or another.
Slow motion, yeah.
That's 10% of your movie.
But yeah,
that's a long time to be in slow motion.
I know. But like I said, I felt like Snyder just was like, breathe, calm down. You're really going to get to like know these characters really well. You're going to get to walk a mile in their shoes. You're going to get to like fully live in like this DC universe that I was creating. And so yeah, that was the biggest change that I noticed, But the HBO Max production looks like a worldwide streaming juggernaut, as it has topped the charts in 21 countries. Hashtag Restore the Snyderverse was trending on Twitter with 1.4 million tweets in less than 24 hours. The movie has also had a critical success, and it maintains a 73% rating among critics at RottenTomatoes.com with a 95% audience score. So the movie seems to be living up to the hype. Alex, what was your favorite scene or like favorite segment of this Snyder Cut?
Me personally, so I gotta preface this by saying I liked the movie. I did not love the movie, but it was worth watching once for me. But I would say that my favorite part of the movie was anything that had to do with Cyborg, pretty much, because to me, he was like the only character that had any kind of an arc in the movie. Whereas the other people, it was just like they kind of just used their fame to be like, okay, it's Batman. You guys know Batman. We're not going to get into it. It's Superman. You guys know Superman. We're not going to get into it. But with Cyborg, him actually getting like some time, and you see his relationship with his dad, and how he hates him at first, and then he grows to love him, and how he hates society at first, but then he grows to kind of defend it and everything. I thought his story arc was my favorite part of the movie, personally. But what about you, Sam? I mean, do you have a different take on it? First of all, how did you like the movie, or
I really liked the movie. I'm eating more crow on this than I thought I initially would be. I still feel like it's a long thing, like a really long movie, and I'm not sure I'll be watching it again anytime soon. But I ended up like really liking it like way more than I had low expectations going in,
right?
and all I could think of was, oh shit, I'm eating some crow, man. Like I'm eating more crow than I than I thought I would. Like I genuinely enjoyed the movies, and only had a few minor complaints about it. Really, like the slow motion. And also, this is my biggest complaint: is at the end when Superman's running down the alley and he rips his coat open and he's still wearing the black suit. I really hated that. Like that almost took me out of like the whole movie. I need Superman in like that red and blue suit. And him still being in, like the black costume. I was like, the fuck,
But that's
man.
his. That's
I was
his
like,
like
what the?
his coming back from the dead suit. I forgot what they call it. They call it the black suit, but it's got another name for it where he has to wear it because it absorbs
I know
solar.
it helps. It helps solar, yeah, radiation. But no, favorite segments. And yeah, that's just my one minor complaint. Favorite segments, like you, loved the cyborg story arc. Loved seeing him, go from like football star to car wreck victim to like his dad, like losing his wife and like the grief you see the father going through, and he's like, I cannot, I will not, I refuse to lose another member of my family when I have the power to save him. And yeah, the resentment that Cyborg feels, that kind of like feeling like he's trapped and like alienated from the world and everything like that was just his whole story arc was beautiful to see, and getting a little bit more. I mean, not a huge lot more, but a little bit more expanded look at the Flash, like when he goes to save Iris and everything. I thought that was a really fun and just beautiful segment. But mainly, yeah, Cyborg stole the show for me. Just his overall story arc was amazing, really, really kind of heartfelt in places, and really, kind of got to me more than I thought it would. So yeah, I agree with you. Cyborg is probably my favorite segment or part of this. Um, I got to ask you this though: Are you a fan of the grittier Zack Snyder style, or do you want more of the fun, kind of livelier Josh Whedon version of Justice League?
Oh man, here we go. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Oh, cracking one
All
open.
right. I will tell you listeners out there, it is okay to like both movies. It is okay to not like either movie. But this whole like I said, and I alluded to it earlier, with this whole thing where everybody is just kicking Joss Whedon and being like, "Oh, you ruined Zack Snyder's vision," or that has got to stop, guys. Like, I mean, Joss Whedon was given almost an impossible task, and he put together a movie that I saw, I enjoyed. I've and again, just like Suicide Squad, I've revisited it later, and I did enjoy watching the Justice League. It did have its faults, and this Zack Snyder cut did kind of highlight some of those faults. But to say, that being said, I like my superhero movies a little bit more fun and a little less like dark and gritty. And not to say that the Snyder cut was bad, but if I had to choose, I would pick the Joss Whedon version just because it was quicker, one, and I just liked the more happy and happy-go-lucky style that he had, and I just feel like to pick one, I had to kind of boil it down to if Joss Whedon was given 4 hours, could he probably make a better movie than Zack Snyder? I think could it be better? No. Could it be just as good? Probably. So like I said, I feel like Zack Snyder's kind of wraps things up a lot easier. That's just my opinion. You guys feel free to roast away in the comments if you guys got a problem with it. I really don't care. But Sam, what do you think, man? Are you gonna save the fans here?
Uh, I mean, I like Zack Snyder's version, but I believe that like you, I like my superhero films to be a little bit more lighter, a little bit more funny, unless like that character strictly calls for like a much more darker tone or take. Which, aside from Batman, most of these DC superheroes don't really call for that
Oh,
take
for sure.
by any
Batman by
means. So
himself, man, like Zack Snyder away. But Batman when he's with everybody else, like he's got to be funny, and that goes for even the Justice League cartoons, the comic books. Like Batman is a completely different person when he's actually with the Justice League. But I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please continue.
no, but I believe like there's like a happy medium where you can almost merge like a little bit of like Zack Snyder's grittiness with like a James Gunn sense of humor and still come up with like a decent Justice League movie, in my opinion. Like there can be some serious parts and some dark parts in there. You can also have some quippy one-liners, coming from Flash or Cyborg or like Green Lantern or like even like Superman. Like the one thing I really did enjoy at the end of the Whedon cut of Justice League is like when he like rips the mother boxes apart and he gets blasted away by this huge blast of energy, and Cyborg's like, I can feel my toes, and he's, I don't think I have toes, and like Superman's like, I wish I was dead again. I mean, a little bit of like brevity and humor is okay. Like it doesn't totally have to be gray, black, depressing tones there. But overall, I I enjoyed the slower pace of the Snyder cut, but I still felt like you could have sprinkled in some humor in there, and you wouldn't have ruined Zack Snyder's tone by any means. Speaking of that, are you hoping for the return of like the Zack Snyder first, or are you okay with this just kind of being like a one and done thing?
Oh man, I after seeing it and seeing everything that he set up, I will say that this Snyder cut it's set up like 5 or 6 movies, man. Like he basically handed the keys to the kingdom to Warner Brothers and was like, look, just follow follow this line right here, and you guys can make some great movies. Um, that being said, I mean Warner Brothers has come out multiple times and said that this is it, this is all you guys get. So I don't think that we're gonna get the Snyderverse anymore, um, unless there's something drastic like this movie's got to stay on top of the charts for a minute to get Warner Brothers to change their mind. Otherwise, they'll just wait for the next. I mean, they've got. I think it's what's it. Kong versus Godzilla comes out tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah,
when we're
yeah.
recording this, so the next flavor of the week will be here, and people will be forgetting all about Justice League because I'm not gonna watch a 4-hour movie again anytime soon. So I doubt the average viewer will. But no, like I said, I don't think there's going to be any hope for the Snyderverse. It's done. It's over with. I hope he goes on to do some really good things. I think he has a Netflix movie coming out pretty soon, like some kind of zombie film or something like that. But um, I do. I posed the same question to you, and after I hear your answer, I have a follow up question for you, just real quick. I know
Okay.
we're pressed for time, but I just want to run it by you.
No, we're good. We're good, man. No, much like David Ayer, I feel like like Zack Snyder had his shot, and I am thrilled, beyond thrilled that he got to do the Snyder cut. But I think the DC universe has already moved on, like beyond the Snyder cut, and kind of already like reshaped itself. I mean, like if you look at like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and like Shazam, like they have much lighter, much different tones, kind of like the more hopeful, funny tones, that you and I were talking about earlier, that we like to see in our superhero films. So I don't see them, and they've had financial success going with this lighter, kind of funnier tone. So no, I don't see them going back to this. I do, however, yeah, like I sincerely wish Zack Snyder the best. I love 300. I loved your Dawn of the Dead remake. I liked your take on Superman. Man of Steel, and I really like Justice League. So no, you sir are a great director, and you can direct some awesome shit there, man. Like hands down. But no, I'm fine with this being like the final exclamation point or period on the Snyderverse. I mean, if like you're like, hey, we're going to create like a DC multiverse here, and like we're going to clearly define like the DC multiverse, and like one of these might be Zack Snyder's verse. Maybe I'd be okay with that concept of diving back into it, but as it stands as a whole right now, no. I mean, we got the Snyder cut, we got Batman versus Superman, we got Superman and Man of Steel. We've gotten 3 movies from Zack Snyder and his take on the DC universe, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to see any more.
Right. Well, I mean, that's. I think we can agree on that. But my follow up question to you is: now that we both think that the Snyderverse is put to rest, can you? What would you rank these the movies that have come out in the Snyderverse?
Oh man. So I would rank. I
And
guess I don't know, man.
I
That's
put
so
the link
tough.
in the chat for you to pull them up. But
Oh man,
there's only 5 of them.
there's 5 Snyderverse movies.
There is 5 Snyderverse movies.
Wow, I can only think of 3 off the top of my head. You're gonna have to like help fill me in here. I'd probably go Man of Steel, Justice League, like the 4-hour cut. Um, and Batman versus Superman coming in dead last. What are the other two films?
So there's
Are
David
you
Ayer's
are you?
Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, I think like directed by like Zack Snyder. Okay, going based off of that, yeah, no, Man of Steel, or no, actually, sorry, Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, Snyder Cut, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Batman versus Superman.
Wow, man, yikes, dude. So okay, I guess for me it would be Man of Steel one. I
Okay,
super enjoyed that movie. Then Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, um, and then I would do I would have Justice League and then Dawn of Justice at the end there. And not because
okay,
those two are kind of neck and neck for me. So
yeah, yeah, no. So again, so my take is yeah, definitely Wonder Woman at number one. Like Wonder Woman one just blew me away. Like Goosebumps blew me away. Superman Man of Steel did as well. It's just once again Wonder Woman had that just hair lighter tone to it that I like in my Superman or that I like in my superhero films. So that's why it gets number one, and then Man of Steel gets two, and then like I said, I really enjoyed the 4 hour Snyder cut, so that's why it comes in at number three. And don't get me wrong, I thought Suicide Squad was fun in places. It's just it wasn't as good as Snyder's Justice League was to me, so that's why Suicide Squad gets four. And then the very what feels like rushed into production Batman vs Superman film comes in at number five for me. So yeah,
absolutely, man, absolutely. So let us know in the comments. Tweet us, email us. Let us know what you thought of it. Any question that you have on it, anything you would like us to cover in the show about this. And other than that, I mean, you got anything else for us, Sam?
no man, I'm ready for us to talk about this next bit. I'm excited. I'm loving this. We are jumping over to the Marvel TV Disney Plus side of things to finally talk about the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Spoiler alert!
6 months.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry, spoiler alert for episode one here. If you haven't seen episode one, pause the podcast, go watch it, come back and listen. I'm giving you four, three, two, one. Spoiler alert, we go. 6 months after half of all life returned from the blip, Sam Wilson works with the U.S. Air Force in Tunisia to stop Georges Batroc and his group who have hijacked a plane and taken an Air Force officer hostage with support from First Lieutenant Joaquin Torres. Wilson, who was given the mantle of Captain America by Steve Rogers, struggles with the idea and decides to give Rogers' shields to the U.S. government for a museum display. Bucky Barnes, who was recently pardoned, attended government-mandated therapy. He discusses his attempts to make amends from his time as a brainwashed assassin, the Winter Soldier. Torres investigates another terrorist group, the Flag Smashers, who believe life was better during the blip. Torres is injured by a member of the group who has superhuman strength when he witnesses them rob a bank in Switzerland. And the government announces a new Captain America, John Walker. That was a lot to cover in one episode.
You did a good job.
Alex, what are your initial thoughts coming away from this first episode?
This show is, and I'm gonna get killed in the comment. I know they're two different shows, but man, this show is miles ahead of WandaVision for me, man. I know.
Boo.
We covered WandaVision for like 8 weeks, man. And in that 8 weeks, dude, there was more action in the first 15 minutes of this show than there was in 8 weeks of WandaVision. And that the whole time that we were covering,
WandaVision is such an.
I know that they're
it's
two.
such
I know
like
they're two different
an
shows,
entirely different
and
show.
That and whatever. No. This one's we're talking about our feelings with this one, and it's just no, it's not for me, dude. I just want just punch somebody or something like. And I got that with this show. It immediately caught my attention and held my attention. There's so many. They even brought back, Batroc, the Leaper, at the very beginning, and to watch, Sam Wilson actually use his wings when they were, they were shooting guns in this one, man. I don't even think there was a single gunshot in the WandaVision. So,
toward the end there, like toward the final episode when the army invades the town, or when Sword invades the town.
Okay, well,
maybe.
Excuse me.
Maybe.
So, yeah, it only took like 9 hours, but whatever. So anyway, And then and not only that, but to see the kind of it also had a lot of story, especially with Sam. You got to see a lot of character development with him. You really get to see him struggle with, you know, like his identity and do I take up the mantle of Captain America or, do I let his legacy kind of just speak on its own? And he made that decision, and it was really kind of crazy to see at the very end. You see the rage in his face and in Bucky's face when they announce, that new Captain America, and it's just like like this has me hyped. Like I want to see the next episode so bad. I mean, I know we have by the time of this recording, but we can't even talk about it, and it's killing me not being able to talk about the second episode. But what did you think, man? I mean, give me your thoughts, bro. I need to hear them.
Man, I thought this was fun. It was action packed. I was honestly a little surprised by how violent it was starting out,
Yeah.
man. I mean, like Sam Wilson was not pulling punches in that opening helicopter fight. I mean, like he was like blowing up helicopters, throwing guys out of helicopters. Like, damn, Sam, like you ain't pulling your punches post blip at all, man. I was
Yeah,
like,
like
oh,
those
you
guys.
go.
Those guys are not sleeping when they hit the ground. Like that's a dead person
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. No, trust me, that person is ketchup, man. Like gone, no more. Um, so no, I mean like that was cool. Just seeing it delve into like their personal lives, like I really like that. Like Sam's sisters, struggling to make ends meet and wants to sell, their family fishing boat that they grew up on, and Sam doesn't want that. So like that was interesting to see. And kudos to Marvel for doing like a really great take on mental health with like Bucky trying to like make amends and having to like go to therapy,
Man, that was
and
so
having to like
good.
go
His
through
little
some like
side story that he had, and him
yeah
trying to make amends with that old man that he gets the food from, and like, oh man,
yeah
it's so good, so good. But please continue.
yeah yeah no, and just like the rules like he set up with like this therapist to like follow and everything, and like I said, that was a refreshing and pretty accurate take of like what it's like to sit through like therapy, and I was like, thank you, Marvel, for addressing that. Like that's really awesome. Like that's great to see. But then like they sprinkled in just enough action, especially like the opening fight scene and like the Switzerland bank robbery, and then like you and like like I felt like I was like sitting next to. So I mean, kudos to the show for like really pulling you in, because when they reveal U.S. agent at the end as being like the next Captain America, like I had like the exact same look that like Sam and Bucky had on like their faces of like disgust and shock
Just
and horror,
betrayal, man.
as the yeah, just betrayal. I mean, great. I mean, you summed it up there. Just I felt like gut punched. I was like, how dare they? Like that is Sam's shield. Captain America left it to Sam. You should have consulted him before you even said, hey, can we pull it out of the museum and give it to this guy? Like that was a dick move for them, like not to consult him. But let me throw this question to you here, Alex. With only 5 episodes left and season 2 still undecided, do you think they're gonna be able to like wrap up like everything that they kind of set up in this first episode?
So I don't know the contract, how the contracts with and I thought with either main character is with Disney or Marvel. So I don't know if they have like two movies left or whatever or anything like that. But oh man, the episodes are supposed to be what, about an hour each, 45 minutes to an hour each. So
They're about 42 to 45 minutes apiece.
are they gonna get to the bottom of this flag smasher thing? Yes. Do I think they'll have it wrapped up? Yes, if I had to say so. Would I love to see a season 2? Absolutely. Kevin Feige, friend of the show, go ahead and come on here and announce it to everybody. Give us that exclusive, man. I'd appreciate it. So, yeah, I or do I think it's going to be kind of like WandaVision, where at the very end, there's a lot of loose ends that we don't know about. No, I don't. I really don't think so. I think that this is going to be kind of like sewed up in a nice, neat little package. I don't think that this show was designed to have a season 2, unfortunately. So I think they're going to kind of wrap everything up. And I don't know if we're ever going to hear from Sam or Bucky again in the Marvel Universe. I certainly hope so, because I love the relationship that they have. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see any of that in this first episode. But yeah, no, I don't think I don't think they'll have any issues wrapping this story up. But what do you think, Sam?
I think if this had been like Marvel's like first foray into like anything, like screen related, like I'm talking like this came before Iron Man, I would have doubts. But I mean, like they've got this thing down to like a well-oiled machine now. They know exactly where this story is going to go, what it's going to lead into next. Like they must map out these overarching, like plans like well in advance, and they've got to have backups just in case this doesn't run a second season, or B, like if something happens and like they can't do a second season. But no, I think Marvel knows exactly where this show is going. Like what it, like, and I think it's going to wrap up all this stuff. And I think much like WandaVision here, and I know you probably hate me comparing this to WandaVision. um, I think it will have like a question mark ending of like, hey, if we can get these guys contractually back and this show does well enough, yes, we'll leave just enough to set up like a season two, but not enough to leave like fans just hanging, being like, what the crap? You never wrapped up this storyline. No, but they'll leave it opened up just enough that like, yes, a season two could be built onto this. This is how I feel it's going to go, because yeah, Marvel knows months, years in advance where all this stuff is going to go and how it's going to be written, and like like I said, like what plot threads they need to hit on all their shows. They've got this down.
Absolutely. No. Do I think I kind of agree now that you said it. Yeah, I think that they'll have most of the big loose ends wrapped up. I hope so. I hope it's not something like where Sam dives on a grenade at the end of the final episode, and you don't never get to see what happens because they never give you a season two. I don't
They
see
would never
I don't
do
see
that.
Marvel doing
No.
anything like that. But so far I'm enjoying this show very much. I can't wait to talk about the next episode. You guys always know that you get a week. I am really struggling
Yep.
this week, so you guys need to get on it and watch it. But Sam, what do you rate episode 1?
8.8 B plus. Fun. Loved all the character setup. Loved the action. Thought it was a great way to kick off the show and really pull the audience in and get them invested. It just hit all the right notes for me. Solid. Like I said, 8.8 to like B plus for me. What about you?
I have to agree 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head. 8.8. Plenty of action. They balanced it with a lot of really good story. The stuff with we already covered with Bucky. Trying to make amends with the different people. That was heartbreaking, as well as the bank scene with Sam and his sister. That was
Oh,
also, you get to kind of see the other side of it, where it's like, as long these guys
yeah.
they're superhuman, but they're still human. So it was really interesting to see that. It was awesome to watch. I honestly can't wait to talk about episode 2. Sam, take us away. Let them know where they can listen to episode 2.
All right, people. You can hear our episodes dropped each Thursday at 10:30 on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. And please leave comments there about what you like, what you don't like. Spread the word. Get your grandmother, get your uncle, get your sister. We're all still locked down. Get the family, gather them around, the radio one night.
That's right, radio
Listen.
night in America.
Yeah, yeah, radio night in America. Gather them around your laptop, whatever device you're listening to us on. Spread the word about our show. Hey, if you want to hear us talk about more about video games, or like top 10 lists, or like, hey, why haven't you touched on like this TV show or this movie? Let us know. Email us at realmycomiclife@gmail.com. Once again, that email address is realmycomiclife@gmail.com. Continue to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just look for that great My Comic Life logo there on YouTube and click that subscribe button. And also continue to like and follow us on our Facebook page. But beyond that, folks, thanks for listening. And as always, ditch the herd. Be a nerd. Stay strong out there, my friends.